going to give this lesson to the grade 11 mathematical literacy students. The topic on this measurement is units of measurement and the conversion of the units of measurement. I'm starting by giving you a rhyme that you can use to remember the units and in that specific order. Okay, we are going to work from the left to the right, where the largest or the biggest unit is on the left hand and the smallest unit is then on the right hand side. The rhyme is as follows. King Harry doesn't usually drink chocolate milk. That king stands for kilo, Harry is for hecto, doesn't is deca, and usually is where we're going to replace it with the different unit of distance, mass, or liter. That means either meter, gram, or capacity. The drink stands for deci, chocolate stands for centi, and milk then for milli. When we work with this, we're going to work from the left to the right. As I said, the large unit is then on our left hand side, and to move from large to small, we're going to multiply by 10. Between each one of those units, we multiply by 10. When we have to move from the smallest to the largest, that means then we're going to divide. And again, between each one of those units, we divide then by 10. We're going to do the following. Start with, for this measurement, we're going to work with mass, distance, and capacity. Okay, so mass, you will find that you have different units there. Ton is extremely heavy object, like a truck full of coal. Kilogram is for heavy objects or a person's mass. Gram is then very light object. Therefore, we're going to move from the left side from ton to gram and milligram, that is on the right hand side, to the smallest one. Okay, let's see. Which one of the units of measurement will we use to measure a banana, for instance? Definitely gram. Distance is then, we're going to work with kilogram, meter, centimeter, and millimeter. Kilo we can remember as a large one. It's a 1,000. Meter means then there's 1,000 meter in 1 kilometer. Then when we go from meter to centimeter, there's 2 units that we skip. That means 10 times 10. So that instead of doing 10 times 10, we can just multiply from meter to centimeter by 100. Cent means 100. Remember, there's 100 cent in 1 rand. So cent is then 100. Then we move from centimeter to millimeter. That is the smallest distance. And between centimeter and millimeter, there's only 10. Remember, there's 10 millimeters in 1 centimeter. That means the smaller the unit, the more there is of it. That's why when we convert from the largest unit to the smallest one, we're going to multiply. So 1 kilometer is 1,000 meter. 1 meter is 100 centimeter. 1 centimeter is 100 millimeter. Now let's convert, for instance, 3 kilometer to meter. So first we must remember that rhyme of us to know which one is the biggest. And then we remember, okay, kilometer is the biggest. We want to move to meter, that is smaller. Kilo means 1,000. That means 1,000 meter is 1 kilometer. Therefore, 3 kilometer we multiply by 1,000 to give us 3,000 meter. And when we have to convert backwards, that means from the smallest to the largest, we're also going to work in reverse. That means the opposite of multiplication is division. So therefore we divide. So meters to kilometers, if we have 3,000 meters, we're going to divide by 1,000 to give us 3 kilometers. Kilometers is the distance between two towns. That means a large distance. You won't measure the distance between Lepelale and Modimolle, for instance, in meters. We're going to measure that in kilometers. When will we use meters? That is a distance between two classes, for instance, between two persons. And this distance for us now in this social distancing, we know is 1,5 meters. That 0.5 is still part of the meter. So therefore we can't say is 1 meter 50 centimeters or something like that. No, it stays 1,5 meter. When will we use centimeters? To measure a table, desk, or a book. The length of a man or a child will be measured in centimeters. And then the smallest one is millimeters. For very small objects, like a post stamp, the thickness of a pen, or the thickness of a book, and that is measured in millimeters. So let's just go again through this. We say, when we have to convert from large units to a small one, we multiply. And when we move from small units to a large unit, we divide. The reason also to remember why we multiply when we go from large to small is because there's lots of small units in a large unit. That means one ruler, one board ruler that is a distance of, or have a distance of 1 meter, will consist of 100 centimeters. So there's lots of small ones in this big one. So therefore we multiply when we go from large to small. And vice versa. When we have to convert from small to large, we divide. Okay, let's try the following examples. A 10,000 millimeter. And I ask you then to convert it to meter. First we have to know millimeter is the small one, meter is the large one. Milli means it's 1,000th of a meter. So therefore, to go from millimeter to meter, we're going to divide by 1,000. So a 10,000 millimeter divide by 1,000 gives us then 10 meter. We can also convert the rest, another one, 550 meter. To convert that to kilometer, that means we're going to go from the smaller one to the larger one. So therefore we divide. Kilo, we've said, means 1,000. So therefore we're going to divide by 1,000 to go from meters to kilometers. So that means 550 meters divided by 1000 is going to give us 0,55 kilometers. When we so at the end of that 0,550 kilometers, the zero at the end of a decimal, after the decimal comma on the right hand side, at the end of the number, that zero is meaningless. So therefore you can leave it and then write only the number as 0,55 kilometers. Now we're going to go to we have done distance, a large distance, a smaller distance. So that means distance is the measurement from one point to another. And the answer stays in that basic unit. Kilometer and kilometers, and when you add that, it stays kilometer. So when we're going to work with distance, one of the things we're going to use it for is to determine perimeter. That means the distance around an object. Like putting up a fence to know what is the length of meters of fence that we have to buy. So it's the distance around a figure. Okay, let's look at the next one. Capacity. Kiloliter is the large amount. For example, the amount of water in a swimming pool, in a dam, or even the water usage at home is measured in kiloliters. Liters is the unit that we use to measure the amount of fuel you put into your vehicle. Or you can even drink liters of cold drink or water. Milliliter is usually measured small units, small amounts, like measuring medicine. Milliliters, 5 milliliters, is also known as 1 teaspoon, is the capacity. That means a teaspoon can be filled up with 5 milliliters of liquid. 1 cup is also the same as 250 milliliters. Let's try and see if we can do the following conversions. 2 kiloliters must be converted to liters. So therefore, according to our round, King Harry doesn't usually drink chocolate milk. So King is the biggest, liter is in the middle, that is the usually one. So therefore, to go from kiloliter to liter, we're going to multiply by 1000. So 2 kiloliter times 1000 is going to give us 2000 liter. The same when we work with liters to converting it to milliliters. We're going to say for instance, it's 250 liters. We multiply that by 1000. So 250 liters is going to be 250,000 milliliters. Okay, let's summarize some of these units. We have worked with distance, kilometers, meters, centimeters, and millimeter. Kilometer is the biggest or the largest. Millimeter is the smallest. Meter is in the middle. That is usually the basic unit for distance. But kilometer can also be, any one of these units can be the basic one, as long as it stays kilometers and doesn't become, you don't multiply the kilometers by kilometers. We add kilometer plus kilometer. That's why it stays kilometer. Or centimeter plus 2 centimeters is 3 centimeters. So you add them. So the unit stays basic. That means you can remember this. 1 centimeter is equals to 10 millimeter. 100 centimeter is equals to 1 meter. That means there's 100 centimeters in 1 meter. 1,000 meter is equals to 1 kilometer. Again, that means there's 1,000 meter in 1 kilometer. And then we also have 1,000 millimeter is 1 meter. So that is for distance. Let's look at mass. We've said we work with ton, a very extremely huge or heavy object is measured in ton. Then 1 ton is given as 1,000 kilogram. That means there's 1,000 kilogram in 1 ton. 1 kilogram is then 1,000 gram. Again, it means 1,000 gram is 1 kilogram. So there's 1,000 gram in 1 kilogram. And then 1 gram is the same as 1,000 milligram. And capacity, we work with kiloliters, liters, and milliliters. Between each one of those, there's a 3 10 times 10 times 10 times 10. 1 kiloliter is 1,000 liter. 1 liter is 1,000 milliliter. Therefore, 1 kiloliter will be 1,000 times 1,000. That gives us 1,000,000 systems. Now, what does measurement systems means? We are working with 2 different systems. In South Africa, we work with the metric system. We must be able to convert the metric system to imperial. The imperial one is the British one. The metric for distance, for instance, is kilometer, meter, centimeter, and millimeters. They are all metric units or the metric system, measurement system. To convert the metric system to imperial system, for kilometers, we can work with convert it to miles or yards, feet or inches. But for this, to do this conversion, luckily we don't have to remember all these out of our heads. And therefore there's not a rhyme to remember this, but luckily we will be given a conversion table that we can use. But it's important that we must be familiarized with the abbreviations. That means you must know what is the meaning of each one of those. For feet, they're just going to use the abbreviation FT. But it's no problem if you write out the whole word. To convert from the metric unit for mass is then kilogram, gram, and milligram. The imperial units for these mass is pounds, ounces, gallons, and pints. Again, a conversion table is going to be there to help us to do these conversions. And then the last one that we have worked with, the metric unit is kiloliters, liters, and milliliters. And that is also where we get this pounds, gallons. That is also capacity.